Alright guys, today we have, in my opinion, a pretty exciting video because we are once again talking about the PlayStation 5 reveal event, as we have some new evidence that maybe points to something actually happening in May. I'm sure many of you are excited for the coming months because Sony and both Microsoft are going to have to be revealing something and talking about something, but a lot of people are very much eager to know more about the PlayStation 5 because Sony has been pretty quiet. They've been very, I guess you could say, picky about what it is they've decided to reveal and show, but there's no doubt that the big event that everybody's been waiting for hasn't actually happened yet. And we've been going over some recent rumors coming from some, I'd say, pretty credible sources claiming that, and they're not claiming that it's PlayStation directly, but that there are next-gen reveals happening in May. They didn't say whether or not it's going to be specifically PlayStation or specifically Xbox, but now we have, in my opinion, a little bit more evidence that does point to it maybe being both, because I'm fully expecting Microsoft to do something in May, but now I'm thinking Sony is definitely going to be doing something in May. For anybody who's caught the last episode of Press X podcast, you'll know that we talked about a lot of different game reveals that are rumored to be happening in May, and we might go over that in this video, but what I'm going to be going over today has to do with the official PlayStation magazine, basically letting us know that at the very least, okay, they're not confirming an actual event, but at the very least, we will be getting some next-gen games to be that we will be able to talk about. So before we get into this, if you could do me a favor, be sure to leave the video a like to show your excitement for the PS5 or to just help the video out, and make sure you hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future content. But where this originally comes from is we have the cover issue of the upcoming official PlayStation magazine, where they are showing off the DualSense controller and they're talking about the PlayStation 5. And it's kind of funny because one of the things that people are running with that the official PlayStation magazine actually had to come out and clarify is, if you look at this cover, you look to the bottom right, it says revealed the surprising Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. A lot of people immediately are assuming that the official PlayStation magazine is going to be revealing the next Horizon Zero Dawn game, and they had to come out here and clarify on Twitter, and this is exactly what they said. There are some stories circulating of us revealing Horizon Zero Dawn 2 in our new issue, not on sale until next week. The cover story references a new comic from Titan, which continues after the game. It seems some people are getting carried away, and if you look at the general response that this tweet is receiving, a lot of people are like, okay, if you say so. And it's funny because the timing of it is definitely strange, I guess, because many of you, I'm sure, are aware of that big report that came out of EGC that gave us a lot of very interesting, seemingly credible details about the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. And so I think that they're being completely honest here. They're basically saying, no, if you pick up this issue of the magazine, you're not going to be reading about Horizon Zero Dawn 2. But there's no doubt that the way they worded it was very interesting. But what's even more interesting than that is the fact that they actually tease the next issue of the official PlayStation magazine, and they, in my opinion, make it pretty clear that we are going to be getting something PlayStation 5 related over the course of May. Now, they don't directly hint at a event, but if you look at the page, they have the PS5 logo, and in big letters it says, "It's coming. The next generation starts next issue as we reveal the latest games coming to PlayStation 5 and how they will play." So yeah, that's a pretty bold statement there. Like I said, they're not directly referencing an event, but I will tell you this, they are the official PlayStation magazine. You know, if Sony is in fact hosting some type of a digital event in May, this magazine would know ahead of time, so they can, obviously prepare the issue that's going to come, the month after. And so they actually did respond to this. If you go into this thread where they talked about Horizon Zero Dawn 2 and how they're not confirming it, they're just talking about the comic book that's coming out. If you scroll down to this thread, somebody says this article is right. The issue from official PlayStation magazine in July will reveal those PS5 things. Could at least you say yes, not, we can't, or something, thanks. Basically, this person is just trying to get them to respond and kind of clarify what it is they're trying to say by teasing the PlayStation 5 and how they're going to be putting a lot of emphasis on it and its games in their next issue. And they said there will be PS5 games coverage in the issue on sale in July, but this is not a reference to a Sony event. Now, look, in my opinion, they kind of have to say this, and maybe this is just me, again, as I tend to do frequently, being having wishful thoughts, right? Like, I want to believe that they are basically covering themselves here, letting everybody know that, no, we are not confirming an event in May. And it makes sense that they would do this because they don't want to spoil the surprise. It's pretty clear, in my opinion, that Sony is going to want to be the one, and I think everybody's going to want Sony to be the one to announce it and get everybody excited. We don't want to see anybody ruin the surprise. And so, in my opinion, this is the perfect way to kind of hint that something big is happening in May without directly giving it away. And it is worth noting the source here. This isn't just a random person on the internet. This is the official PlayStation magazine. And at the very least, what we can gather from this, if you're somebody who wants to look at this and say, I'm not buying it, I still don't believe there's going to be an event in May, I'm just going to wait until we hear it from Sony, perfectly understandable. However, if there is at least one thing that is worth getting excited about, but we do maybe still kind of have to temper our expectations a little bit, is the official PlayStation magazine is confirming that in their next issue, not the one that's coming out next week, but the one after that, they will be talking about PS5 games. And they, in my opinion, the way they word it, they say specifically how they will play. I mean, it sounds like there's going to be multiple games and they're going to have a lot of details on these games. So, look, I don't want to get everybody's hopes up or through the roof and say, get hyped, guys, it's happening in May for sure, because we've been burned by that in the past, and, I've been burned by that, and I don't want that to happen again. But I have to be honest with you guys and say that I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good that in May we are getting something. I referenced some game announcements that have been kind of rumored recently, and the games I'm talking about, again, I did mention this in my podcast, but I know not everybody caught it. The two games I'm referencing specifically are a new Crash Bandicoot game. There was a Portuguese journalist who actually kind of broke this news where he said, and I think he's pretty credible, at least based off of what I've read and heard, he's pretty credible. He said that Activision has been working on a Crash Bandicoot game for 3 years now. It's something original. It's not like a remake or anything as far as I know. And it will be revealed in May, and it's going to be associated with the PlayStation 5. It will have some type of exclusivity. He didn't say exactly what that exclusivity will be. However, I do think it's safe to assume that if this is in fact real, it will be a one-year timed exclusive. That is certainly something I could see Sony locking down with Activision. We know that Sony apparently has been the one pushing Activision for the Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 campaigns remastered and getting that 30-day exclusivity window, whether you like it or not. The point is, Sony is the one pushing for it. So, it makes sense. I think it's going to happen. But we're also hearing from other sources, apparently, that are familiar with what's going on internally, especially with this Silent Hill game that seemingly, even though Konami confirmed themselves that it's not real or the rumors are not true, they just are not going away, and people are doubling down, or these sources, I should say, are doubling down, and they are claiming that the reveal of this Silent Hill PS5 exclusive will be happening in May. Now, I find the timing of all of this very interesting, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm hearing this. I'm following it. We're getting confirmation from the official PlayStation magazine that their next issue, their June issue, which will probably, most people will get their hands on it sometime in July, I'm assuming, they're going to have a bunch of PlayStation 5 games to talk about. They're going to have a lot of details, and they're going to let people know how they're going to play. And of course, they're not confirming an event, but we have that, and we also have these game rumors starting to kind of heat up, where now we're hearing about a new Crash Bandicoot game. It's supposed to be a launch title for the PS5. We're hearing about the Silent Hill game. We've been hearing about it for quite some time, and the rumors just won't go away. There's enough evidence there that to believe, yeah, maybe something is actually happening, even though Konami wants us to get off the trail and they want us off the scent. And so I'm hearing that both of these games are apparently going to be revealed in May. there's a lot of people getting excited. There's a lot of people kind of coming out here saying, yeah, it's going to be in May. And look, I want you guys to know, I am not sitting here telling you to walk away from this video extremely hyped and excited, believing 100% that we are having something happen in May, because as I've said, we've been burned by this in the past. However, I would say this. If you want to feel excited, it's okay, because at this point in time, we are so close to something happening that it may not be exactly what you think it is, and maybe it's not going to be the big event in May. Maybe it's just a few game reveals. We are getting something. Okay, we are going to have to get something because Sony is getting so close to the launch of this console. I mean, yeah, we're still about 6 months away, but still, like that gap is closing. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, what I'm trying to end this video with is, for those of you who felt burned back in January or February, getting yourselves all excited, it's totally understandable that you are thinking maybe there's no reason to get excited now. However, I would say it's a much safer bet to get excited now than it was back then. So don't feel so bad if you are. That's all I'm going to say. And that's pretty much going to do it for the video. But yeah, I find this all very interesting. What I'm taking away from this is that something is going down in May. We know for a fact, in my opinion, I think Phil Spencer made it pretty clear on his Twitter recently, they're planning to reveal some games in May, and they're probably going to have their big, event in May. I think it's safe to say that Sony is going to do something as well. Whether or not it's going to be the big PS5 blowout that we've been waiting for, I don't know. I hope it is. I think it will be, but I can't say for certain. But we got to temper our expectations. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I'm starting to ramble here. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. Do you believe that we are going to be getting some big game reveals in May for the PS5? Do you think we're going to get the big PS5 event in May? Let me know why or why not. Be sure to leave the video a like if you did enjoy it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.